Hello, geckos. Today, can you guess what we're going to learn about? If you said frogs, you're correct. So today I want to learn a little bit about frogs. Now, if I wanted to learn about real frogs, what kind of book would I need? Would I need a fiction book or a nonfiction book? If you said nonfiction, you are again correct. So today we're going to read this book called Frogs. And if I look at the cover, it's a photograph of a frog. And it has all these cool facts about frogs inside. So let's read. Frogs. Frogs. And when I open it up, it has a table of contents. Remember, the table of contents tells us what each page is going to tell us about. So for example, if I wanted to learn about frog food, I would only have to read page 12. But I want to learn a lot about frogs, so we're going to read the whole thing. Lots of photographs in this book. Splash. Splish, splash, what is that sound? What is hopping and jumping around and what loves to swim? What loves to eat bugs? It's a frog. Can you hop like a frog? Frogs live all over the world, except in Antarctica. Frogs usually live in wet places. They like rivers, lakes, and ponds. But some frogs live in trees. Some frogs live in the desert. Frogs can be found all over the world. Wherever they live, that's their habitat. Look, we have more photographs and they have labels on them to tell us what kind of frogs they are. A red-eyed tree frog, a bullfrog, see, a marsh frog, lots of different types of frogs. Croak. Look at this frog croaking. Some frogs' throat puff up when they make sounds. Each type of frog makes its own sound. The corky frog is named after the sound it makes. It sounds like co-key. This frog is the size of a quarter, so it's about that big. Even small frogs can make loud sounds. Frogs make different sounds for different reasons. Sometimes it's to warn other frogs of danger. Sometimes it's to call other frogs nearby. It's a dancing frog. This frog lives around noisy waterfalls. Other frogs would not be able to hear its calls, so it dances instead. It sticks out each leg and then the other. Can you dance like this frog? Boop, 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 boop. Frog food. What is a frog's favorite food? Usually it's insects. Frogs eat dragonflies and crickets and other bugs. Some frogs eat bigger animals like worms and mice. The American bullfrog even eats other frogs. What's that pink flash? It's how a frog catches bugs. It shoots out its long, sticky tongue as it passes at a passing bug. The frog pulls the bug into its mouth. If your tongue were as long as a frog's, it would reach to your belly button. Could you imagine having a frog tongue like a frog to your belly button? Every size and color. Frogs can be many different sizes. The smallest frog is as big as a fingernail. The largest frog is as big as a rabbit. So think about a frog being about that big. Look, the photo is even bigger than it would actually be. And here's a big one. Frogs can be different colors too. Some are green or brown, others have stripes or spots. Frogs can be red, yellow, or orange. They can even be bright blue. Watch out! These colorful frogs may look pretty, but watch out. These frogs have poison in their skin and their bright colors warn enemies not to eat them. Poison means something that can kill or hurt living things. This tiny little frog is only an inch long. It's about about that big. Its name is Terribilis, which means the terrible one. How did it get its name? By being the most deadly frog of all. One has enough poison to kill 200,000 mice. Frog babies. All frogs have mothers. Mother frogs lay eggs. When the eggs are ready, out pop the tadpole. Tadpoles are baby frogs, but they don't look like frogs yet. Tadpoles have tails. They only live in water. Tadpoles grow up to be frogs. 1, at first they breathe underwater with gills. 2, they grow their lungs for breathing air. 3, they grow legs for hopping and swimming. 4, in 3 months they lose their tail. It's time to hop out of the water. Toads are frogs too. What is the difference between toads and frogs? So here's some diagrams. Here's a frog and here's a toad. Toads are a type of frog. Frogs spend most of their lives around water. Toads spend most of their times on dry land. Their bodies are built for where they live. Super frogs. Two-faced faker. So this one looks like it has 2 faces. So here's one and here's the other one where the spots look like eyes for enemies. The fly higher, whoosh, the gliding leap tree frog. The screamer, aye. Loudmouth frogs leave enemies stunned because they scream. And Mr. Invisible. Now you see him, now you don't. He's a good camouflager. And then we have a glossary in the back of this nonfiction book. So reading nonfiction books tells us lots of information. How much information did you learn about frogs? Maybe it was something new, or maybe it was something you already knew. Go ahead and get out your journals now. You're going to write your code date, 1-27-21 for the year. I'm using a marker just so you can see, but please use a pencil. On the lines, you are going to write 3 facts or 3 things that you learned from the book about frogs. For example, I'll show you my first sentence. I might want to write that frogs eat bugs. So starting at the blue and stopping at the red, starting at the capital letter, make sure my letters go in the lines. Frogs, finger space, eat, and sound it out as best as you can. Finger space, bugs, b-a-g. And when you're done, do you remember what goes at the end? I'm done, oops, I forgot. I have to make a period, I have to make a dot. So you're going to tell me 3 facts or 3 things you learned from the story. Make sure you sweep it and tell me the other 2 things about your frogs. Since this is a nonfiction, here you're going to draw the best picture you can, your most realistic picture of a frog. Just like sometimes in nonfiction books when they make realistic pictures. So I should not see your frog wearing clothes or standing up or talking. A realistic picture. Can't wait to read your stories about frogs. Have fun, friends.